Hi all, this is James Bailey here, one half of the KDE networking team. Here today to help explain networking and the services that we provide for KDE and K-12 districts in comparison to roadways, interstates, maps, and signs. So in the 1990s, we first established 56K lines to every school district.
What's 56K?
56K lines was the only medium of getting to the internet during those times in the 90s. It was really the first time that home users and businesses were actually able to access the internet to share information through the World Wide Web. This slide here that we have, I represent those 56K lines as a gravel road and a one-lane highway. Those roads were very basic in its time because of the minimal throughput that could get on those roads. Throughput being travelers, cars going in one direction or the other. You can see on one of the slides with the one-lane road that it was rated, the speed limit's rated at 55 mile per hour. 55 mile per hour, we seem to think, I seem to think that it's kind of slow when you're on the highway, right? From getting one place to the other. I like to drive faster, but that's what we began with in the 90s when we started to really help service the districts for instructional use. As time went on, we've grown our network over and over. We actually work with AT&T now, and we have our network is the KEN network, which is Kentucky Education Network, and it was built with AT&T and other telcos to provide the school districts and KDE something greater than those 56K lines that we once had. As you see, the interstates show multiple directions, multiple ways, multiple lanes, and routes that can be taken east, west, north, and south. KEN, which was the Kentucky Education Network, uses the platform of the Kentucky Information Highway. Our version is number 3. That platform helps to deliver a higher bandwidth than ever thought possible. At this time, each school district has a bandwidth that is calculated at 100K per student, 100 kilobits per student. That is used to help their network grow in use of the WAN network, which would be the going to the internet. This calculation has provided school districts from going from the 56K lines all the way to 100 meg and up to 1 gig and some gigs being 5 gig and more. This larger circuit allows for less network congestion, and it provides a more speedier, more reliable delivery of the services that we provide to the districts and that the districts rely on in the cloud, the internet cloud. You can see with the representation of the pictures that I have, that congestion on a highway can lead to hours and hours of slow moving or no moving as you travel, which would be the same in networking when you consider your data flow slowing down to not being able to get across to the internet. And then of course that would provide a poor service, and the districts would not use the technology as they actually do today. The other slide shows that represents that traffic is flowing much faster at a higher rate, and that seems to be the KIH3 that we are on today. It provides a much larger pipe bandwidth for use. Also, with moving to the larger network platform is that there are many more routes. There are many more pathways that data can use to get from one place to another, whether it be destination internet, destination another network. It allows for not only faster speeds, but that faster speed also relates to routing. And routing is in basic, if you can compare that to your interstates and highways, as mapping and road signs and directions of how to get from one place to another. That's basically the way you would look at routing when it comes to networks. As a networking team, we provide many services as far as KIN, and in those services we help manage vendors. We test the bandwidth every night of what's allocated to each district. We test those. We work with the vendors. We work with the telcos to make sure that service that the districts are having is up to the way we want. Better service for the districts and reliable network connections. Our network oversight is a complete network monitoring, fixing. If it's able to get to the internet, if it's on our network per se, then it is running over the services that this team provides that we have to keep available. That's networking related in general. We also service wireless throughout KDE, and we act as good stewards and champions for wireless out in the districts. As I said before, we work with our vendors quite a bit with the services that are provided to the districts and to the main office, and we make sure that all of those are under the stated expectations. Other than that, if it's on the network, we support it, and we help keeping it up, we help keep it running, and we always try to make it better than ever expected. That's all I have today, and thanks.
Hello everyone. We're setting up for the next shot in our network video presentation. Thought I'd take the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Andy Leopson. I'm team lead for network video webcasting services.
And I'm Megan, and I help.
Hey Megan. We're the folks who put the magic in the presentations at KDE. When you do a presentation, you're trying to convince your audience to do something. And the best way to do that probably is face-to-face. But you can't always be there, so a live webcast or a video recording is a great option. And that's what we do here in our studio. What we use here is a green screen studio. Looks great, doesn't it? The way the green screen works, let's say basically it's two video streams. I'm in the foreground and the green screen is in the background. The software removes the green and renders it transparent to put in the background image. Megan's going to turn off the effects. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. It's just me and a green screen. Nothing going on here. I love this stuff. All right, we ready for the next one?
All right, so here you see our next presenter without makeup. Isn't he adorable? We can make you look adorable too. Just come on down to our studio. All right, let's slather some makeup on him and get on with the show.
We've agreed to discuss security today as long as our identities can be protected. While working for KDE, we were assigned the task of information security. It's a risky, challenging, and oftentimes dangerous position to be in. We deployed firewalls at every entrance to act as our border control. They help ensure only authorized access to our network occurs. The border control behavior of our firewalls also helps protect against attacks on our network and sensitive data. Without these, anyone could connect to and access the KDE network from anywhere in the world with no limitations. InfoSec is like an onion and requires many layers of protection. The KDE web filter reinforces this model. It is in place to work like a traffic checkpoint. It makes sure you are allowed to be on the road and that you're headed to a safe destination. It also verifies who you are and that you're an authorized web browsing user. From there, you're allowed to drive or browse to the destination that you've been granted access to. KET's Enterprise VPN service is provided as a means of accessing the KDE network securely. The KET's Enterprise VPN service provides users a secure, reliable, and private connection between networks. The bridge represents the VPN. So from island to island, you're provided a secure, safe passage back to the KET's network. DDoS mitigation. This is distributed denial of service. AT&T Threat Management DDoS mitigation helps protect our KET's infrastructure and ensure legitimate traffic inbound and outbound. You can think of this as traffic on a highway that's had major congestion. This allows us to have a detour and quick, easy, reliable access with no congestion. Couch is onto us. I think I've already said too much. That's security declassified.
Hi everyone, Chris Van Leuven, the team lead for School Cloud Services here. Bringing everything back to the intersection that we talked about earlier, we control this little bitty PLC, which, if I can get my finger on the right spot, that controls the way the intersection flows, when the lights turn red, when the lights turn green, how traffic gets through it. We also house, or warehouse if you will, the video from those dash cams on all those police cars that you see driving around town. But what we actually do in real life is monitor things with the SCOM, or System Center Operations Manager console, which tells us what's up, what's down, what needs attention, what might need attention in the future, or even if something so simple as firmware is out of date. We use the Microsoft Cluster Manager for telling where our VMs are and what state they're in. VM is short for virtual machine.
Hold it, Chris.
Brr?
What's a virtual machine?
That's an excellent question, Andy. A virtual machine is a software-driven server that's actually sitting on physical server hardware. So if you think of a data center 5-10 years ago, you had 100,000 servers in a server room or data center. We've condensed all of that hardware down into essentially 7 physical servers that we have over at COT, but you can probably see by the very small number right here that we have a whole bunch of virtual machines. Those virtual machines run things like SQL instances, or web servers, or even the antivirus head-end that allows Kenny to manage the antivirus on everybody's computer. We do things like manage the instance that controls how you log into wireless. For instance, when you log in on a personally owned device, you're actually logging into a virtual machine sitting over at Cold Harbor. But ultimately, it's a server inside a server or a software-driven server. We also have those in the cloud, which I'll get to in a minute. We use the Virtual Machine Manager console, which tells us where our VMs are, but we can also move our virtual machines around there. But the ultimate best part about this tool is it lets us template things. For instance, when Logan builds a laptop, He just has an image that he sends out. He doesn't have to build every one by scratch every single time. This allows us to build servers or virtual machines not from scratch every time, which took our turnaround time back down from about 2.5 days to about 2.5 hours. It's pretty much as simple for us as copying a file and configuring it. We also monitor our storage area network, SAN for short, that tells us, what's going on in the SAN if there's too much traffic to one array or something like that. An array holds a section of hard drives that is configured to house a large amount of data. We manage these arrays and the entire storage area network that houses your terabytes and terabytes of data, from the data that you keep on PhilP1 to actually the hard drives for all those virtual machines we talked about before. Beyond that, we back up your data. Any of your data that you think is critical, you tell us to back it up. We keep backups for a couple weeks on site, and then we ship them off to the cloud. The cloud is where we house all of the new Active Directory virtual machines, and we're working on moving stuff up there now. What in the world? Anyway, thanks everybody.
Like, yeah, what the hell, the 56K?
And the background is an image that we let show through the transparency. Nah, I already messed it up. Hang on.
You sound much better now.
All right, I'm relaxing now.
So you make our job really easy.
Boom.
Hi again.